Welcome to Womanhood, Radiance. I'm Steph Renee,
I'm Jante Antoinette.
and here we will be talking about all kinds of things that women pretty much go through on a daily basis that they may be silent about, that they may not be necessarily comfortable talking to anyone, but we'll be covering all types of topics such as self awareness, growth, healing.
Relationships, personal development, finances, and faith. We created this channel and this space just for women who are growing, evolving, and just navigating life in whatever space that looks like. So that's different seasons for all of us, and we're all at different spaces and times in our life. So we want to make sure that you're doing it with clarity and confidence.
And if you haven't already, please smash that like button, comment, share, and subscribe.
You can also follow us on YouTube
and Instagram.
All right, Steph, so let's really dig into it. Why now? Why did we start this channel?
I would say that it's been just consistent over and over and over. I've seen so many women who just need awareness, they need healing, and we're here to deliver that in any way that we can. We want to raise awareness. We want to, give back to our communities and just make them more aware of them just living a better life altogether.
Definitely. It's for those younger women, younger selves, with the conversations that we wish we would have had sooner with our small community, whether that's parents, family, or just friends.
And my question to you, Jante, is what have you been through to get you to where we're sitting here today on this couch having this conversation?
Okay, so let's peel back the layers a little bit. I'm married now, but I have been through a divorce, been through some tough times, and I think that without friends, without people who are pulling the best out of you, sometimes it can be a lonely place. And what are you doing when you're in that space? Are you going to therapy? Like, what type of self-development and personal improvement are you making on yourself? So in my life, I've definitely had a lot of time where I had to just heal, and sometimes I didn't even know I need healing, but I was in survival mode. And now that I'm on the other side of that, thriving, I want to really just hone in on how I got here. So to answer your question, it was some hurt, some experiences in life. I've seen the world. I've, been married 2 times now, and I have a daughter. I have also a blended family, so more love that's in me I have to give, and I've been able to do that. But just for myself, I've been through a lot of different changes in my career. I was a stay-at-home mom. I had to balance that because I just knew I was going to be a career woman and very goal-oriented, very headstrong. So I was very passionate about where I was seeing myself going, and then that didn't happen.
And I definitely think we should talk about that. We should definitely talk about blended families as well, because it is a lot of that going on. And it could be a bit of an adjustment, especially with older children, especially when, let's say, you have someone new in your life, and typically with older children, they tend to maybe not adjust well. You have different personalities coming into the play, different people coming from different backgrounds,
So true.
all being under one roof, and having to adjust, and even dealing with the absence of maybe, a mother or a father no longer being in a picture. I definitely think that that's something that we can talk about as well.
We can unravel that.
Yeah, because I really think that your family, and like as you stated, you have a blended family, and I just feel like your blended family works well. So I really think like you can definitely help, people out in our community with that.
It takes a lot of patience, but the main thing is it's love. And you have to love yourself, to love your spouse, to love your children. And I call my sons. I have 2 from my husband. And my daughter, she looks at my husband as her second father. There's no replacing. We're not trying to replace the other parents, but it's just about love. How can we get these children to the next level. I think all people, especially if you have any children, whether they're coming out of your womb or not, you want them to be better version of yourself.
Definitely. And me personally, you know, I've definitely, have gone through a journey in itself, as to why I'm here right now. I had definite struggles, emotional struggles, you know, uh, no support at some point, having to figure out things, having a baby at 14 years old and having to just figure out life, figure out being a woman. Definitely. I was definitely a teen mom. Actually, amongst my friends, I was the first, of course, to have children or to have a child. And then, of course, there were other friends who had children, but that was later on down the line. But
I think a lot of our viewers will definitely resonate with that.
Yes.
Because it's a lot of women who have had children young or just been the first.
Yeah, definitely. And, through that, I did not give up on myself. I was determined that I was going to make it. I did not want to be another statistic, and that I wanted to be successful, independent, and in no way, shape, or form, and not that no shade to anyone who needs it. However, but I did not want to just become another statistic. I wanted to pretty much thrive and be independent and have my own and pretty much have that American dream and beyond. So it was difficult. I had to learn to be a woman. I had to teach myself to be a woman, and I have had pretty much, I would say, a few friends who got me through that and supported me and still supports me until this day. So definitely failed marriage, learn from that. I would say I decided to become, early in my career. That was something that I was determined to do. I graduated college, with a baby, 2 degrees, and just continuously wanted to thrive and set an example.
How did you get through that?
Determination. It was determination. It was, having the drive, and childhood was rough, and I definitely think that a lot of women can resonate with that as well. Definitely childhood was rough, and all I know is I would say that the environment that I was in was not something that I wanted to mirror. That was not something that I wanted to continue to follow. That was not something that I wasn't proud of, nor did I want to bring that into my adulthood. So in a way, sometimes our environment can motivate us to even do better. You have some people out here, and granted, they are very, very proud of their childhood, their backgrounds, and where they came from. But for most of us, that's not the case. And especially for me, that was not the case. So that was more of an example and a motivation, maybe from a negative standpoint, but I turned it into a positive. And just was like, okay, I told myself, all right, Steph, this is not what you want for your life. This is not what you want for yourself. And so just continuously having 19 years, because I moved out and I left home at 19 years of repeated negativity, toxic environments, abusive situations, things like that motivated me to want to do better for myself and my daughter.
I think that's so powerful, and I want to commend you because you are a phenomenal woman, very successful, and a great friend. So I'm appreciative to have you in my life. But you also hit something that I wanted to talk about, because I came from a background that was modeled for me, and it was very positive. So for me, I said, you know what, I want to kind of recreate the same thing that my mom did for me, but I'm just going to tweak it a little bit. Certain things that I felt like conversations that we actually needed to have full blown versus, hey, let's talk about it when you're ready. So those conversations I speak to my children about before they're ready. They might not even know what certain topics I'm talking about. They might not even understand it. But hey, God forbid something happens to me and I'm no longer here. You're never going to be able to say, I never heard that conversation.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And I think, it is more so of us taking on the responsibility of making our children aware and actually preparing them for adulthood.
Absolutely.
As opposed to saying that, oh, you're too young to know this or learn that, and it's just, if you don't teach your children, the world will.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
So, and we don't want that, because you don't know what that may be. So I definitely think that is definitely a powerful standpoint, to let our viewers know how it is important to let your children know, for them to be realistic.
Have the conversation now.
Exactly.
Don't wait, because they might have questions. Once you start having these conversations, their mind's going to start brewing and thinking about different things, and they're going to ask you questions, and this way you don't have to shy away from them. So with that, let's just hop into the next thing. What are some conversations that you think we should be having more openly? Let's start with women.
So, I think what women deal with silently, I think they deal with self-worth issues, self-esteem issues, not thinking that they're good enough, not believing in themselves, having like a scarcity mindset, and just not knowing any better. And I feel like the reason why a lot of us don't, or why we are not where we need to be, is because of a mindset. It's what you tell yourself every day. What are you telling yourself? How do you talk to yourself?
How do you talk to yourself?
Yeah.
I remind my daughter that every day.
Yes.
Speak kindly to my child.
Yes. Speak kindly to yourself. Love yourself. Talk to yourself. And I highly encourage, if for some reason you have childhood wounds that may still, I would say, haunt you until this day, seek therapy. There are so many resources out here nowadays, and I know at some point we kind of shied away from that. Yes, it's a vulnerable place, but it's needed, because so many of us are walking out here and just unaware and think that, yes, and this is just the hand that we're dealt. No, absolutely not. Your life is what you make it. And if you're walking around and operating from a place of lack, for that matter, then that's what life is going to mirror. That life is going to mirror what your subconscious thoughts and beliefs are. And it's you are good enough, and you should love yourself enough to know and feel and believe that you deserve better, and that you
not
are
just
better.
Believe, you got to know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to know it. I think it's a big difference in believing and knowing.
Yeah.
And you can believe it, but sometimes you got to just speak it into yourself without even knowing yet.
But you know what else? It's also your environment. What are you around? What type of friends do you have? Are you around people that gossip? Are you around people that's negative? Are you around people who are toxic? Because I feel like your environment is also, it's going to rub off on you, even if you try your best for it not to happen. In order for you to create change, sometimes we have to say goodbye to some people. Okay.
Cut 'em out.
Sometimes we have to, not even sometimes, this is actually non-negotiable. Okay. Standards and boundaries.
Right.
And I'm gonna say this: coming along with a healing journey, having standards, building boundaries, you're going to lose people. And typically, when people get upset with you for having boundaries, 9 times out of 10, those are the people that was benefiting from your brokenness to begin with.
You outgrow a lot of people, and you will see the more you grow, certain things, it's not personal. It's not personal, and your friends or family that you do outgrow, you should not feel attacked. You should not feel left out. Just understand, okay, I'm going this way, you're going that way, and it's okay. You'll get here, or maybe you won't, but I will continue to pray for you, and hopefully you will be able to grow and evolve the same way. But do not, by any means, let anybody stand in your way of your growth and your journey and getting to the next level. And I think we should also chime in, because I think that has so much to do with your success with work and my success with work. You have to really hone in and dominate, like the world itself is a male dominated area.
Definitely.
And you can speak to it, your workforce. What do you do for a living?
So currently, right now, I work in HR. I work in a political environment. So I definitely,
Male dominated.
definitely, people want what they want when they want it, even if it's not necessarily, ethical, even if it's not ordeal. And due to that, I'm in a situation where I have to stand up for what's right. I have to speak for what's right. However, still provide that flexibility and provide that understanding and still deliver the results that's being asked for.
Right. And in the same aspect, I work in finance, and everywhere you look, there are male dominated, and they do not look like these brown faces. And that is all right, but you have to know and be confident in your capabilities and just your knowledge and what you bringing. I don't really like that term, bring to the table, but you have to know what you bring to the table, and whether that's just your personality, your diligence, and that you're a hard worker. But sometimes you have to do a balance, because I don't really want you to just be a completely hard worker and don't know how to rest. I think that as women of color and just women in general, I think all women can resonate with this. We don't know how to rest. We feel guilty when it's time to rest.
Yes,
I know
absolutely.
That's something that I struggle with. But I think that we should all have that understanding that we need to be able to have a balance, whether that's working, at home, the family, friends, going out. It's a full balance. And that, I think we should also chime into, what are we seeing right now in the world with women?
I see a lot of brokenness. Yes, I see a lot of toxic behavior. I see a lot of women that is operating in masculine energy, and that is not what you're here for. And again, we're going to be covering all of that. Having women stepping into their feminine energy, having women stepping into their self-worth, having women just, know who they are, having better beliefs about themselves, and first and foremost, being okay with being alone. Codependence, definitely we should be talking about signs of codependence, signs of brokenness, signs that you need healing, even if you're not in the best relationship and you may not necessarily
even
be
if
aware
you're single.
of it. Yeah, exactly. Even if you're single and not necessarily okay with being single.
A lot of people are like that.
And a lot of people are like that. And we will definitely be covering all of those type of topics, because I would say that you got to be okay with being by yourself before you can actually invite someone else into your life.
I don't think that a person completes you, because I know we hear that saying so much. I need to find my person, my mate.
Yeah.
They're going to complete me. You are your whole
That's
own
right.
entity on your own.
That's right.
And I want women, young women, old women, because it's a lot of older women that don't know these things that we're talking about either, just because they've lived through their mothers, not just traumas, but what was available to them. So that's one thing that I say to everybody. Give the older people that are in your life, give them grace, whether they known or not known the things that they brought to the table and have actually made you aware of, or have not. I just think that we should all know exactly, understand that you are your own person by yourself.
Exactly. And I want to add to that. Never should you give anybody, I don't care if it's a man, I don't care if it's a parent, I don't care if it's a sibling, I don't care if it's a friend, never give anyone that kind of power. And what I mean by that is, and this goes with what you were just saying, in addition to codependence. Okay? If you feel only okay when somebody else is giving you reassurance, then technically you're not okay. You're really not. At the end of the day, ask yourself, when this person walks out of the door, they're taking a part of you with them. And until you get to that point where anyone should be able to exit your life and you should still continue to remain whole, that's when you know you're finally stepping into your radiance.
So let me ask you a question, because through that journey of self-involvement, growing, And people do leave your life, sometimes for a second, a moment, or a long time, and it is
or permanently.
Does that hurt?
Definitely.
Okay. I just
You're
want to make
gonna
sure
go
that
through grief.
There's
Going to be grief. There's going to be grief. There's going to be that, you're going to have that initial, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, But the thing is, when that happens, and loving yourself is definitely not easy. At times, it's not easy. At times, choosing yourself is not easy. It's not going to be easy, but when that happens, that's when you have to go into the self. Not to necessarily go out and seek external validation, not going out here looking for another man to replace the last one just so that way you don't have to. No, because
I hate that saying.
From that point, you just jumping from person to person and you're not taking care of yourself. And I would say for me, I would say I've been on a healing journey since 2022. I mean, and being a little vulnerable, 2022, I just hit rock bottom to the point I took off work for like 2 months and I wanted different. I kept getting results that I was not in favor about. And I said, what am I doing wrong? I'm doing something wrong. I'm not showing up right. I need to do some things. I need to work on myself. And that's what I did. And from there, I told myself, even during that time that I was at my lowest, I said, at some point, I want to help other people, and I would say now I've been going strong now on my healing journey for 2026. I would say it's been 4 years.
Right. And,
with that being said, a healing journey is a lifetime commitment. You are always going to be a student. You
forever
are
student.
Forever. This is not something that you graduate from and then that's it. You're going to continue to add on to it. And yeah, you're going to have hurdles. Yeah, you're going to stumble. Yes, you're going to fall. Yes, you're going to make mistakes. However, it's all about raising the awareness. It's all about holding yourself accountable. It's all about self-awareness. When things go wrong in your life, look at yourself first instead of blaming your partner or blaming a family member or blaming a coworker.
Or your circumstances.
Exactly. Look at you and say, okay, what did I do? Or how did I contribute to this? And a lot of times we operate from a place of subconscious. Really, that's what drives us. That's what drives our behaviors. And we don't even know it. We don't realize it. We think on the surface. We think consciously. But subconsciously, those subconscious limiting beliefs that we walk around with, thinking that we're not good enough. So we do things to sabotage ourselves all the time. And it's all about tapping into those beliefs. You know what you tell yourself. You know what those deep down thoughts are. Even if you don't necessarily tell anyone, but you know what you say to yourself and what you think to yourself and what you believe in yourself. And no matter, what your external may look like, your internal, if your internal is completely opposite, then that's how you're going to show up.
Right. And you're way more than your hair. You're way more than just appearance. I need people to understand that, and especially us women, because sometimes we only feel validated when we get compliments. But what if you don't get compliments? Are you still not beautiful? Are you still not who you are? And what is your makeup on the inside? And you don't want that to be, oh, I'm so beautiful on the outside, but the inside I'm a little dirty. But life, we go through things that do taint us. But as long as it doesn't stain you and you actually know how to cleanse, you know how to recuperate, and you know how to bounce back.
And that's where your healing comes from.
And it's a journey. It's a personal journey.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's where your healing comes from. You're not carrying your past into the present. And because understand that your present will predict the future. So your past no longer exists. Your past is done. It's over. It's gone. At this point, it's time for us to heal from the past. It's time for us to let it go. It's time for us to stop limiting ourselves based on what somebody did to us 20 years ago. You take, the only thing that I would say you take from the past is the lessons learned.
There you go. Because I was going to say, now, the past, I understand how you said it predicts the future, but also, does that eliminate the pain or your experience? No, I feel like, if I didn't go through these things, I would not be who I am today. So I don't think, how the saying goes, um, for, not to forget. You can forgive but not forget.
Not forget.
Forgive those people that hurt you in your past, but you don't have to forget what they've done. Why? Because if you forget it, you're going to repeat the same actions over and over and over again.
But that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Your pain is what really teaches you in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And like you said, we're not necessarily, I know I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for some pain. Not that, but I've learned to, I try to stop running from it, and I've learned to embrace it. I've learned to, you know, grow from it and apply it in today's and even in my future.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's a must.
And again, if you have not already, please smash the like button, comment, and subscribe. And if you would like for us to cover a topic, you know, please leave it in the comment section. We would definitely read all comments, you know, and we just thank you all for coming in and supporting our channel. And you know, please follow us on Instagram and Facebook. So, you know, I think what's going to make conversations different here is that we're literally going to be having authentic just conversations, and of course giving you topics, giving you different types of you know, lessons that you can learn. Well, that is all what we have today, and if this resonated with you, please comment, like, share, and subscribe.
Don't forget, like she said, smash that like button. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Until next time.
Peace, y'all.